Sticks and Bones describes itself as an introductory short story with gameplay based around situational QuickTime events and puzzles. I played through this game multiple times and collected all of its Steam achievements to answer the question, is it worth picking up this self-described Episode 0, even if it claims no monkeys? I'm Scurvy Banana, and I use this YouTube channel to offer my thoughts up about typically pirate games, but also games with similar themes about the tropics and fishing and oceans. If that's your sort of thing, you can feel free to subscribe. Sticks and Bones is a sort of cinematic gaming experience created by a one-man dev team, Mohammed Arkobi, acting as Bold Statement Games. It released in 2019. The game features a pirate skeleton as its main protagonist and follows his humorous adventure. Our bone hero starts out escaping a prison before getting into a slap fight with a Navy crew and having a lengthy sort of tug-of-war over a map with a pirate. There's also this rabbit riding a seagull with a flintlock. Don't ask me why. A large chunk of the game is presented through dialogue-less cinematics that remind me of Mr. Bean-style visual comedy. I'll go ahead and note here that in its description it mentions that this is an introductory story, specifically Episode 0, the story before the story, and was initially planned to be a series. A few other releases by the same dev have released since this, so I'm unsure if Sticks and Bones as an intellectual property has been cast to the side, but I will say that as it stands now, this does tell a full tale. Now onwards onto the gameplay. Besides the cinematic story, the main gameplay is a various amount of small puzzles and quick-time events. Some of these are recycled throughout the game's 50 different chapters. Click repeatedly to run faster or open a door, balance on a barrel, click to dodge a slap. These are all very short, quick, and straightforward. Despite having a good time with them, I wish several of them had lasted longer and had a bit more nuance. I think the longest section is a third-person stealth segment near the end of the game, but even then you directly follow an NPC. I should mention there are two standard melee combat sequences, one as a side-scroller and one in the third person. However, you'll quickly learn to cheese these fights with a certain combo. While I am personally a bit disappointed with the lack of depth in these short minigames, given its nature as a silly cinematic experience, I want to mention that simplicity can have its merits. Perhaps this design is intentional, and I could definitely see this making a fantastic experience for younger kids. Now that I've played through it a couple times, one thing I wish was part of the experience could have been maybe a couple forks in the road. I think that the overall experience of the game could have been extended via replayability if a few of the puzzles did have alternative solutions with differing outcomes. The music and soundtrack I felt worked perfectly. It truly sounds like a handcrafted experience. In terms of art and graphics, it's easy to overlook this as being a quote-unquote acid flip of the overused Polygon Unity store pack by Cinti Studios, but once you actually start playing the game, you'll notice how much extra work and passion seem to go into it despite its common graphics. On the topic of, the quote-unquote acid flip, I'll divert a bit of attention toward a developer post on Steam regarding a price drop. Initially, this game was released at a $9.99 price point, but was dropped to $5.99 due to consumer complaints. Within the post, the developer defends his work via explanation of how much effort was put into the product, making and adding their own Polygon-style models, handcrafting the soundtrack and many of the environments, and the amount of extensive animation and motion capture work that they did to make this project come to life. At the very least, it's interesting to see, if not potentially eye-opening to the amount of work even a short and simple game like this can be. I bought this game while it was on sale for less than $1, and at the very least I can recommend everybody pick it up at a price that low. It offers very short, sub 1 hour amount of playtime, but is an incredibly entertaining experience. I hope someday in the future Bold Statement Games is able to return to this idea to make a more grand experience. However, as it stands now, I still quite enjoy Sticks and Bones for its goofy and cartoony adventure, with the biggest downside being that there just isn't more of it. Thanks for sticking through the video. Maybe next week we'll take a look at Horizon's Gate, or Don't Sink, or Pyrotopia, or maybe even Seabird.